All right, there it is. Anyway, so here's some housekeeping. Please type your name, grade, and school in the chat box for attendance purposes. If you haven't already, please change your screen name so we can identify you. So, preferably that includes your first and last name. Please mute your microphone during the presentation. I don't think we've really had problems with that, but in case you just want to be wary of that, in case you unmute and then you forget to unmute afterwards. Like I mentioned previously, I would like it if you guys could turn on your camera to fully participate. I understand if some of you guys have cameras that aren't working, but otherwise, if your camera is perfectly working and functional, I would very much appreciate it if you could have it on. And finally, note, as you just heard, we are currently recording this meeting, so just keep that in mind. And if you have any questions, feel free to use the chat box or save your questions for the end. Here's just a quick rundown of ACS-YA. I'm sure a majority of us here already know what ACS-YA is because you guys are in the program, but regardless, this program offers opportunities for middle schoolers, high schoolers, just youth, and in general to help raise awareness for cancer. And we want to um, learn critical leadership skills from this program. And of course, if you're looking for something to stand out on your college applications, because I know I certainly want that, then of course this program is definitely going to be something that colleges will raise their eyebrow at. So here's just some ways to get involved. We have participation, volunteering, leadership, being an advocate, of course, following the ACS-YA social media accounts, fundraising, and of course, this is arguably the biggest one, is just letting other people know because chances are you might have friends, classmates, other people who might be interested in helping out as well. And so like I mentioned previously, I'm sure a majority of us are already in ACS-YA, but if for some reason you haven't registered for ACS-YA, there's the link right here to register so we can just have you on record, and this also helps you because we have the time tracking form so you can submit your volunteer hours. And I was just about to get to this. Here's our time tracking form. So in case you want to log down your hours, we have the link right here. And of course, I'd also like to take our time to thank our advisors and mentors, Ling, who is here, and as well as Sophia. She is joining us through the chat today, as well as Miss Sophia Chan and Dr. William Tsai, as well as all of the bunch of adult advisors here. We really have a lot of adult advisors who are constantly supporting this program, and I'd like to thank them for that, of course. And then here are some of our ACS-YA youth leaders. And moving on, here are more ways you can get involved in the ACS-YA program. For instance, at your school, you could start an ACS-YA club. This is something that me and one of the other youth leaders, Angela, have been doing. We have been trying to get an ACS-YA club started at Walnut High School. So if you think you have any friends interested, or even you could just start one by yourself in your school, so we can have more people doing more for ACS-YA. So there's that. We also have our Love Notes Around the World program and our Relay for Life event, which is coming up pretty soon in September. We also have our recycling program. So you can basically recycle things as the title suggests, and you will use that money to help donate back to ACS. And yeah, that is also chaired by me and Angela. So if you have any questions about it, feel free to email me or her at the emails right here. And then PVSA, I think a lot of us have heard that this is kind of up in the air right now, but if you're still curious about your hours for whatever reason, you can email us at acsforchange@gmail.com or contact Miss Sophie Zhang. And now I will move on to talk about one of our upcoming events, which is the ACS-YA Multimedia Contest. So this is a pretty classic event that ACS has been running for a while. So basically, if you haven't heard of it before, you can submit a flyer or a poster, you can submit a video, or you can run a social media campaign. And of course, our themes are healthy living, cancer prevention, early detection, pollution detection, as well as health equity. So this year, basically almost any sort of students can apply. Previously, I believe it was elementary, middle school, and high school students, but now we are also accepting submissions from college students. So you can either work by yourself or with a team of up to 4 people. And this is especially relevant to remind you guys of because today is August 24th, and as you can see down here, registrations and submissions are due August 31st, 2025, which is basically a week from now. So, of course, no rush to people who are probably working on their submissions right now, but also just keep that in mind because you don't want to have a late submission. And down here we have the links to upload and register for the event. So you might be asking, okay, that's cool and all, but what do I get out of this? And that's a great question because you definitely want to enter because the first place award is $500, and I'm sure we all love money. And even if you don't win, at the very least, you will receive 10 hours of volunteer hours. So at the very least, you have proof that you did something, and that's something obviously you just want to have that down for. But regardless, I encourage you to join even without the allure of rewards because it's just nice to express yourself creatively as well as help promote awareness for cancer. So you can scan these QR codes here for the guidelines as well as more information. And as I mentioned previously, the registration form as well. And here's just a quick note, because of the multimedia contest, we will not be having a September monthly meeting. All right, so now we will move on to our training from Richard. So
All right. So today I'll just be talking about CSA, Community Scientist Advocacy, through City of Hope. And basically, I participated in this program, and I want to come back and tell you all how great it is. Next slide. Yes. So an overview is basically this program is designed to empower CSAs with both tools and knowledge in order to speak up, do advocacy, and bring real change back to their family, back to their friends and community. And so this really encompasses three things. Health advocacy for your community. So, for example, improve cancer prevention care and research for example, populations that are not represented currently or populations that are underrepresented. For example, Asians are only 5% of nationwide clinical studies, even though they are 7% of the population. We also need more effective awareness and trust. For example, for clinical studies, we need people to understand what they really are. We need them to trust them and also have confidence in the science that backs cancer research and care. Um, we, the program also goes over public science communication and provides an advocacy network and resources that you get throughout the training. So to begin with, some of the scope of being a CSA involves engaging the community in best practices. That could mean reaching out to your organization, like I'm here with ACS-YA, or reaching out to the broader community, or even just your family and friends. Since what matters most is spreading community confidence and support for science. And some other things that we went over in general were social determinants of health, trust, literacy, clinical studies, some barriers that people might have to care, ways that we can improve our methods of being as CSAs, For example, also policy, so determining how we spread cancer awareness, and also informatics that tell us is our policies working, or what kind of policies should we implement. We also went over a bit of ethics, um, because, as always, things like clinical studies, things like cancer treatments, they can have some things to consider with regard to ethics. So I'm just going to be going over a few of the topics that were presented in each module. These are just very surface level descriptions of things you can expect to learn about. And I just hope that this will get you interested in the CSA program. So first, I'm going to talk about cancer. So cancer is defined as a group of diseases where abnormal cells grow out of control. That's from the American Cancer Society's website. And basically, the precipitation of cancer, its origin, comes from social determinants of health, SDH, that can be economics, education, environment, many things that we think about. And in addition to genetics, even emotion and circumstances and culture, they can all affect prevalence. And so we have to make sure that we're aware of these differences, especially between populations. Cancer can also occur in many different manners. We find cancer, we catch it at different stages and grades, and there are obviously many types of cancer. And one thing that we went over was that precision medicine can tailor prevention and treatment specifically, for example, to groups. For example, patients who are in this category for this specific cancer might benefit more from a particular treatment compared to patients in another category. There's also personalized medicine, which was also talked about a bit. Another focus of the CSA program is clinical studies. So clinical studies, we it's one big goal of the CSA program is to make sure that we know to advocate for clinical studies as being new treatments, novel treatments, with rigorous standards. For example, they have to go through a process of phase zero, phase one, phase two, phase three, um, and through basically all these phases, they're looking for different things. For example, is the treatment effective? What kind of dosing do we need, etc. And there are some myths about clinical studies. For example, some people might think that they're being a guinea pig for clinical studies, since obviously they're testing out a new drug. And it's up to community science advocates and doctors to promote clinical studies to tell them basically this we think that this study will have good benefit for you. We've tried it's possible that they have tried other things that didn't work. And every time you enter a clinical study, you're either given the new treatment, experimental treatment, or the comparative standard of care. So you're never going without treatment. And so basically overall in clinical studies, one of the biggest keys is patient engagement to make sure that they know exactly what they're getting themselves into, and that it's fairly rigorous and fairly safe. Um, so one website that people can also visit is clinicaltrials.gov. It basically has all ongoing clinical trials, I believe, for sure stage two and past. Sometimes they put stage one up there. We also talked about social factors. So in the AI big data era, when a lot of things are online, even our meetings are on Zoom, we have Instagram, we have social media. And so that means information spreads rapidly. Information, whether it's accurate or inaccurate, can propagate very quickly. And that means we have big opportunities to share accurate information, but also big challenges to combat viral misinformation. And so some strategies we can take to think about this are CSAs advocating and telling people that certain content is misleading, is false, is AI generated, and other content, and to promote other accurate content, um, and tailor messages to public health needs. So basically, also targeting specific populations to make sure that we're getting the message across. And this is still an ongoing challenge in the social media era, since there's a lot going on a lot online. And finally, a topic that was discussed a bit was nutrition. So what the quote says is literally, "You are what you eat." Um, there are a lot of studies that have been done. I guess it's not exactly accurate to say if you eat this food, it will make you live for 2 years longer or something. But it is definitely true that overall, if you make certain dietary choices, it will significantly impact your risk of cancer. And part of that is from processed foods. So processed foods are less healthy in general. The more a general indicator is the more processed something is, the less healthy it is. And both nutrition and lifestyle both impact risks of cancer. So I believe that this is also a tangent that CSAs should advocate and think about for. Yeah, so overall, becoming a community scientist advocate with the City of Hope program, it can help you amplify your advocacy against cancer with the topics I just mentioned. It's all virtual, so it's all over, I think, Microsoft Teams. It's online. And you just complete some surveys, facilitate community education and diverse engagement in health research through whatever communities that you are advocating for. Um, and there's also a monetary incentive. So you can receive up to $300 in gift cards with this training and survey completions. So I highly encourage you all to take part. Yeah, and then here's this slide is from them directly. I just screenshotted it. Basically, CSA, you have to be 18. That's, I guess, one of the biggest catches here. But once you turn 18, I highly encourage you all to complete the program. It's just 6 modules, 6 weeks. You just have a 1.5 hour meeting per week. Um, and you just take what you learn from becoming a CSA to your community. So I'm coming back to ACS-YA with that information. And everybody I know as my family and friends, I'll make sure to educate them now that I'm a CSA. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that CSA presentation from Richard. Sounds like an amazing program, although I can't really enter it yet because I'm not 18. But regardless, thank you so much. Okay, next we'll have our social media update from Evan. So,
Hi, hello.
hello.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Richard, again. That was really informational, and I'd hope to join when I turn 18. I have one more year because my birthday was just a couple days ago. So, yeah, that sounds cool. Yeah, you can go to the next slide. Um, well, yeah, hi, I'm Evan. I go to Temple City High School and I'm a junior. So, next year I will be going to college and yeah, I'll be 18. These are our social media advisors. So Rosemary and Miss Sophia Young is our ACS-YA advisor, but they are both really helpful in terms of our ACS-YA social media, like programs and outreach events and stuff like that. So they always help for every single meeting that we have with our leadership team, which is Cadence, Siona, and Vishaka, which you guys have probably seen in the meetings talk before. I'm not sure if they're all here today, but I think I saw Cadence earlier. Yeah, so the next slide, yeah. Okay, this is our routine social media posting. So we'll do these posts every 1 to 2 months to get people on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter or X to enroll in our program and participate in all of our activities. And we're also looking for a redesigner right now. So you can email me at evanandshia@gmail.com. And if you would like to help redesign it, then yeah, just feel free to email me. Next slide, please. And then this was our August 2025 postings. We're gonna get the posting schedule starting in September, hopefully. And then so yeah, for this month, I actually got sent this posting by Ling Wu, who's in the meeting today, and she shared the ACS-YA like Relay for Life, like something about like the social media help. So I just posted the thing that was available on the website. So it wasn't an original post, but it's just something that ACS gives to all of like the related ACS accounts. So I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, and that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that social media update, Evan. And now we'll be moving on to our frick, website and app update. I'm sorry, from Hannah. So
So the website update that we have for this meeting, if you could go to the next slide, is we finished the recycling page where we got more information about the details of the program, the statistics. And so we added that to the website and we made some other minor edits in like formatting and font sizes, but this was like the main update we have. And then for the app, we have Shrish, who is one of the main developers for it.
Strish, are you here? Okay, she's joining their phone. I'll give her 1 second.
Oh, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so for the app, we're pretty much ready to publish, but we're just waiting on finishing the login screen and everything like that. So that's mostly Silesh. He's working on it, but we have a good prototype ready. So I just wanted to show that. Let me just find it real quick. So it's a link, so anyone in the chat can view it. But so it's an app, but it's hosted on web, so anyone can view it. But obviously, the size ratios are not app size, so they're going to be a little bit exaggerated. So let me just share my screen. Can you enable screen sharing?
Um, can one of the hosts give him screen sharing? Because, wait, am I one of the? No, I don't think I am. Wait.
Okay, there we go. So whenever the users first sign in, this is the first screen that they're going to see. This is just an onboarding screen. So based on whatever they pick, it redirects them to the best resources for them. For example, if I pick I'm a cancer survivor, it's going to show resources related to that. So obviously they can search for resources or look for translations. And then we have a quick about us page, which basically summarizes like the organization goals and everything like that. We have a get involved page, so this is what you guys can use to track in hours or for to get other people to join in. And we have an upcoming events page, so this is not updated yet. We're probably just gonna update it once we launch, so we're probably gonna assign one of the ambassadors to work on this. And it's probably not um, panning well on the web, but it looks fine on the phone. So it's just a contact us page, and this is just the our team page. And this is what we're working on right now, making a login screen because we applied for development in iOS, but they wanted us to use more iOS features, like native iOS functionality. So that's what we're working on implementing right now. So yeah, and that's basically it.
Okay, thank you so much for the app presentation from Shrish, and thank you for the presentation from Hannah. So moving on, we are going to have our ACS-Y stop presentation from Sebastian, I believe.
Hi. Um, Greetings to attendees of the ACS-YA stop meeting. Um, I'm Sebastian. First I'll go through the two objectives of the ACS-YA stop. First, it's advocacy, and it's very important. We want to do advocacy through education, training, and participation. The second objective is just prevention of tobacco and cancer through said advocacy, and also to provide cessation support. And cessation means stopping an addiction. In this case, it's tobacco use. Um, I I'm a college student, but I'm participating uh, in the ACS-YA because I already am excited to raise awareness for cancer. I love doing a variety of sports, especially if they're outdoors, like tennis and rock climbing. I think all sports are already fun. So in this presentation, I'm going to focus on how we can advocate for tobacco prevention, um, and what is important to help us advocate. One thing that is important, really important, is research. There's this quote here um, that says, "Research illuminates the path, education guides our steps, and advocacy propels us forward on the journey toward a brighter, informed, and empowered future." Um, so, uh, the things uh, in regards to tobacco use and the use of e-cigarettes in youths, it's a critical public health concern, and is and we want to explore the unique challenges the youths are facing that prevent them from breaking free from tobacco, and all of the cultural and age-appropriate effective interventions that address tobacco prevention and tobacco cessation. We want to create supportive environments that foster a tobacco-free future for our youth. Here are some discussion questions. First, what are research and advocacy? What do you think research, education, and advocacy, why do you think that is important for tobacco prevention and control? I would like you guys to discuss in the comments or turn on your microphones. Um, just and Claire, do you have any idea what research? Do you have your own definition?
Mm, I don't know. That's a really good question. I've like been kind of thinking about it, but I'm glad you asked. I mean, when I think about research, I guess the first thing that kind of comes to mind is like a lot of reports and like papers of because I don't tend to read a lot of research papers, but I remember going through a lot of them um for a bunch of well, research reasons. And in terms of advocacy, I'd probably define it as raising awareness, which is well, one of the key things that ACS-YA strives to do.
Exactly. Yeah. And research and advocacy are connected because you can use the research for advocacy. Um, and of course, advocacy is important for to make everyone know about the issue. Um, I see some comments. Yeah, Evan Chia says that it provides information to educators. Um, not just to educators, but also to the policymakers. Um, and it would help them make the policies, according to the research. Naomi says, yeah, I think advocacy can prevent people doing unhealthy things. It's real important. Um, yeah, I think you guys have the main idea. Um, second. Sorry, I need to get out of my um okay. So I'm going to talk about research. There's like a systematic there's many factors involved. That's not just research that can help us advocate. The most important are the first three, research, raising public awareness and advocacy. Um, So advocacy is important. It's instrumental in mobilizing communities and influencing policymakers. Um, the while research delves into the multifaceted aspects of tobacco use, um, and the research can be about many things. Yeah, there's research has its own step process to do effective research. And I'm going to show it on the next slide. Um, so here's like a step procedure for doing that they use to do research. The first step is to identify the problem. This is the most important step because it's the step in which all other steps build up on. Um, it involves identifying and defining the research problem or question. This the second step is to once you define a problem, you want to review existing literature, um, and evaluate that literature in the context of in whatever context you are working on. Um, and what's important in this step is to identify the gap, the missing information that you want to get, um, as data. Um, the third step is to create a hypothesis that can be tested or a research question. And then the fourth step is to actually design how you're going to collect the data, like what sampling strategies, data collection methods you're going to do. And then the next step is, of course, to get the data um, through experiments. Data can be through surveys or just observations. It's a vague word, but whatever data you get is important. If it's helping solve the hypothesis that you did in step three. Finally, once you get the data, you want to analyze it using math, graphs, statistics, anything that can help you draw meaningful conclusions. The seventh step after that, after you have like the mathematical conclusions, you want to bring out the context and actual knowledge and to the public. So the eighth step, finally, you actually convey that data that you got to through publications and presentations to a broader academic or practical understanding of the subject. And um, yeah, that's like the data that you can tell to friends and they would understand it. Um, so that's like the research process. Next, I'm going to talk about um, all the types of research related to tobacco that exist currently. There's yeah, there's you can do research on many things. There's many different aspects that contribute to tobacco use. Um, there's the clinical trials are the more direct type of research because they directly involve like treating the treatments and directly involve intervening with tobacco cessation. But there's other things like you can see policy analysis, which um, is evaluates the impact of the policies on tobacco. Um, the first one, epidemiological studies, which are just like social patterns related to why people use tobacco. There's genetics, um, yeah, and all these things. And there could be more. Um, but next, I'm going to talk about. Uh, I'm going to say that there's other stuff more related to youths using tobacco instead of adults. Um, so in the next slide. There's like different topics. So effects of um I mean it's kind of the same for adults, but I guess what would be different is that if you initiate more to youth, there would be more I'm not sure, but youth tobacco initiation um adolescents are more prone because they have no experience, so you need to educate them more. So you need to put more effort into the youths. Um, and since they've never used like drugs before, you can like prevent them from using it in the first place. Um, and there's many social stuff. Yeah. So, moving on to the next slide. What type of tobacco? So, a question for you guys: what type of tobacco-related research and research topics would interest you most? Why do you think these are important to solve the tobacco epidemic crisis among youths? Because we do have a crisis. Um, first of all, what type of projects do you think would be important to solve and why?
Okay, I'm just gonna answer this. But of
Sure.
course, everyone else is free to unmute or type in the chat as before. But I wasn't like, I mean, I didn't exactly look through like exactly all of the research projects, but I saw there was one vaguely related to psychology, and I thought that was kind of interesting because I do know that like tobacco can affect the brain, and I think that's really interesting to me because like addiction in particular can kind of rewire the brain and um I don't know. I guess it's like I'm not too heavy on science, but psychology is definitely really interesting to me. And I think these projects are important because the more we understand how tobacco works, the more we understand how it works on youth in particular and we can, how it affects them and their responses to it, then we are able to develop more solutions to this crisis that you mentioned. So, yeah, that's just my 2 cents.
I agree. Psychology could help prevent. I mean, that if we understand that, then we could maybe come up with something that prevents youths from getting involved. Um, does anyone else have anything to say in the comments? Okay. There's a video in the next slide.
Do you want me to just play it or?
I think so, yeah.
All right, okay, I got you.
Could you add could you pause the video? Is there any way you could put sound? If not,
Oh wait, oh my God. That's completely on me. I didn't know that there wasn't that you guys couldn't hear. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Um, hold on, oh my God, sorry. I cannot navigate Google Slides if my life depended on it. Um, okay, hold on. Let, let me just
who were
you guys hear this
suffering
now?
and many
yeah, it's good now.
Yeah, okay. I'll just pick off from where we left off. I think like around here.
Everything. I feel it, though I do not see it.
When you help someone directly, you are giving face to face, person to person, or maybe person to animal. You do something to address a need. Cheer on racers at an event. Maybe you help paint a mural on an old worn-out building to make a neighborhood look better, clean up a park, or volunteer to read to animals. Giving can also be indirect. You might organize a drive to collect books, school supplies, or toys for children right in your hometown. Or put your amazing jumping skills to the test and get people to sponsor your jump-a-thon so you can fund a well in Haiti. In these cases, you may never see the people you help, but you know you made a difference. Advocacy means supporting a cause, and it's another way to give. If you want to help people be healthier, you might make posters showing healthy choices, or host a health fair at your school. You could hold a meeting to show people why exercise or participating in team sports is good. Maybe you think people in your school should be nicer, so you help create a movement and show others how they can pay an act of kindness forward. When you advocate, you use your voice to influence or get people to get on board with a movement. Another way to give your time is to do research about an issue or topic. Maybe you help take water samples from a lake and then share how good it is, or isn't, with your community to get them to act. You could survey your classmates about safety. If there is a safety need, propose an idea or program that can help. When you do research and share your findings, you become the teacher and help educate and bring issues to life in your community. As you can see, there are many ways to give, and every one of them is important. When you give, it's contagious, in a good way. The people you help and those who see you are inspired to give too. Giving your time, talent, or treasure while taking action for the common good is good for all.
Nice. Yeah, so advocacy is very important. Um, Recently in the news, they did a study, and they found that adolescents who use e-cigarettes any tobacco products are a lot more or significantly more likely to report symptoms of depression and anxiety. Um, so I think that's very important. It's good to know that it's not healthy for our psychological state. Um, so another study, another report says that the since 2000 we have declined in use of tobacco from 33% of adults to now it's expected to be 18% by 2030, which is almost half. And that's good. It's not the best, but it's still an improvement. Um, yeah. So thank you for the organization of the ACS-YA stop and for the audience for participating. We have a post-activity evaluation. If you could please, I'm going to post it in the chat. If you could please fill it out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Sebastian. I thought that presentation was really interesting, especially because, I mean, me personally, I'm definitely more of a person who's like into, as you mentioned, like research and policy. So it was definitely really insightful, and I liked it a lot. So moving on, we are recruiting ACS-YA stop leads for October, November, December. So if you're interested, please email Michelle. Here is her email below if you're interested. And then, of course, for references and acknowledgments, we have the Tobacco Prevention Toolkit, Tobacco Free California, Campaign for Tobacco Free Kids, City of Hope, ACS, of course, and California Tobacco Free Colleges. And this is basically it, guys. Of course, as I mentioned at the start of the meeting, if you haven't already, please register for ACS-YA. And if you think that maybe one of your friends or one of your classmates might be interested, let them know and send them this link. And if you have any questions or any concerns, feel free to email us at ACS for Change. And then I'd like to thank our collaborators. So, of course, we have ACS, we have ACS's Relay for Life program, Goal Together for Childhood Cancer Awareness, the Global Federation of Chinese Businesswomen, the Greater LA chapter, City of Hope, Cessation for Hope, as well as the City of Hope Asian Pacific community. And that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. If you have any questions or any comments, just feel free to say in the chat or actually just say it right now. And
Yeah, this is Lynn. Can I give information about the Relay for Life?
you mean talk about Relay for Life? Sorry, I can't hear you quite
No,
well.
actually, the date, because someone mentioned it's in September. Actually, it's in October. October 11th will be arcade
Okay, I see.
to our volunteers. I will send out the flyer again to ACS-YA to make sure everyone has the information.
Okay, yeah. I just remembered. For some reason I read it as September instead of October. But yeah, thank you, Ling, for clarifying.
Yeah, and I expect we will have youth leaders for the Relay for Life, and I hope we will invite them to the meeting so they can be updated and give the information to the YA community. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Ling, for clarifying on something that I slightly fumbled on for Relay for Life. But yeah, if anyone else has any other questions, any other concerns, feel free to speak now or hold your silence forever. And if not, then I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Oh, wait, Sophia sent something. Yeah, please join the Youth Conference Planning Committee. So that is all. Thank you all for joining today.
Thank you.